The invitation felt heavy in my hands, despite its delicate creamstock. Thick, expensive paper, embossed with elegant script. Eleanor Hartwell requests the pleasure of your company at a garden party. Saturday the 15th, 2 o'clock. Thornwood Estate. A bitter laugh caught in my throat. Thornwood Estate. My property. The 12 acres of rolling land, the historic main house, the cottage, the gardens I had poured my soul and savings into restoring. I had bought it 3 years ago at a bankruptcy auction, a shrewd investment, a diamond in the rough. And I had given it to my sister. The memory of her desperate phone call was still sharp. The landlord is selling. We have nowhere to go, Diana. The girls, their schools. Douglas's commute. We're desperate. Move into Thornwood, I had said, the words leaving my mouth before I could reconsider their weight. It's just sitting empty. It was meant to be temporary. A 6-month lifeline. Just until we get back on our feet, she had promised. For years later, she was still there, hosting garden parties on my 12 acres. I never asked for rent. I never mentioned the mortgage I'd paid off, the property taxes, the insurance, the small fortune I'd spent on landscapers and repairs. She had woven a convenient fiction, assuming the estate was some long-lost family inheritance. I never corrected her. The truth felt too cruel. Now, the invitation in my hand felt like the cruelest thing of all. The invitation specified garden attire. I wore a simple sundress from Target and worn sandals. I drove my practical Honda through the wrought iron gates I'd had repaired, my knuckles white on the steering wheel. The circular drive was a showroom of luxury cars. The gardens, which I had funded back to life, were immaculate. A string quartet played near the restored fountain. About 40 guests, swathed in silk and linen, sipped champagne under the ancient oak trees I'd had professionally treated. It was a perfect picture of old money elegance. And at its center was Eleanor. She stood near the rose garden, a vision in cream silk, pearls gleaming at her throat. She was holding court, the undisputed lady of the manor. My manor. I walked across the lawn, the target on my cheap dress felt as glaring as a neon sign. Guests glanced my way, their eyes skimming over me before dismissing me entirely. Diana. Eleanor's voice was a carefully modulated chill. Her smile was a tight, perfunctory line. You came. You invited me. Yes, well, she said, her voice dropping, I thought you'd understand it was more of a courtesy. Given the guest list. Douglas materialized beside her, a crystal glass in his hand. Diana. We didn't expect to see you here. It's a garden party, I said evenly. I like gardens. Eleanor's laugh was a tinkling, artificial sound. Of course you do. Though, I imagine the gardens you're used to are quite different from Thornwood's. A woman draped in diamonds drifted over. Eleanor, darling, your estate is breathtaking. A true labor of love. Oh, it has been, Eleanor gushed, laying a hand on Douglas's arm. When we acquired the property, it was practically a ruin. But we've dedicated ourselves to restoring its soul. I took a slow sip of my punch, the sweet taste cloying in my mouth. You're so blessed, another woman chimed in. The history, the grounds, it must be worth a fortune. We've been fortunate, Douglas agreed, puffing out his chest. Of course, it takes considerable resources to maintain this caliber of estate. Not everyone can handle that level of responsibility. The audacity was a physical blow. I saw my niece, Melissa, leading her friends around. This is where we host our summer parties, she announced. Mom says we can do my graduation here next year. Near the pond, her younger sister, Sophie, was posing for photos. I could almost see the Instagram caption, living my best life. My house, I thought, the words are roaring in my ears. Built in 1904. Purchased by me in 2021 for $850,000. Diana. Eleanor's voice cut through my thoughts, sharp and loud. A moment? Privately? She led me toward the cottage, away from the music and chatter. When she turned, her mask of pleasantry had vanished. You need to leave. The words hung in the air, stark and unbelievable. I just arrived. I know. And I'm asking you to go. Her eyes were hard. This is an important event. Douglas's business associates are here. The girl's friends' parents, people of a certain standing. And you. She gestured vaguely at my dress. You're making people uncomfortable. Because I'm dressed casually? Because you look, she paused, searching for the most cutting word, common. You look like you don't belong here. There are expectations, Diana. You're not meeting them. The world seemed to narrow to her face, to the utter contempt in her eyes. So, you want me to leave your garden party? I asked, my voice dangerously quiet. I want you to understand that some circles are for people of a certain stature. You work as a bookkeeper. You drive a Honda. You live in a small apartment. These people own businesses, vacation in Europe. They don't need to be confronted with, well, with someone who's struggling. Someone struggling? I repeated, the irony so thick I could taste it. I'm not trying to be cruel, Diana, but yes. You're the struggling sister. That's just reality. And at an event like this, your presence is awkward. I looked past her, at the scene of effortless wealth unfolding on my land, funded by my money. The carefully constructed dam of my patience finally shattered. I see. Her relief was a palpable wave. I knew you'd understand. You're so practical. You know your limitations. Just then, Douglas approached with two other men. Eleanor. Bring Diana back. Charles wants to meet everyone. We were swept back into the party. Charles was the picture of distinguished wealth, his handshake brief and dismissive. Eleanor, Douglas, he boomed. You've done wonders here. We should talk about that development opportunity. Property this size? You could subdivide, make a fortune. Oh, we'd never subdivide, Eleanor said quickly, a flutter of panic in her voice. Thornwood is our family legacy. Everything has a price, Charles said with a knowing smile. As Douglas and Charles began murmuring about substantial money, I saw my sister pull her husband aside. We should actually consider this, she hissed. Melissa's college. We've been struggling with the costs. We don't have a mortgage. My voice, though quiet, cut through their conversation like a blade. The string quartet had chosen that moment to pause. All eyes turned to me. Eleanor spun around. What did you say? You said you've been struggling with the mortgage. But there is no mortgage. The property is owned outright. A wave of nervous laughter escaped her. Diana, you're confused. This is a family property. From Mom's side? I asked, my tone lethally calm. Mom's side never owned a square foot in this county. From my bag, I pulled the envelope I had prepared that morning and placed it on the white-clothed table. It seemed to absorb all the light, all the sound. What is this? Eleanor's voice was a whisper. Open it. Her fingers trembled as she broke the seal. She pulled out the first document. The silence was so profound I could hear the rustle of the paper. She read the words aloud, her voice hollow with disbelief. Thornwood Estate. 12.3 acres. Purchased August 15, 2021. Owner. Diana Mitchell. The air left the garden party in a collective gasp. This is a fake, Douglas stammered, snatching the paper. Diana couldn't afford. I'm a CA who owns a successful accounting firm, I stated, my voice ringing with a power I had long kept leashed. I manage portfolios worth $30 million. I bought Thornwood as an investment. I drive a Honda because it's reliable, not because I'm poor. I wear this dress by choice, not by limitation. The second paper was in Douglas's hands now. He read it, his voice crumbling to dust. Notice to vacate. You have 30 days to vacate the premises. Signed, Diana Mitchell, property owner. 30 days? Eleanor's cry was raw, stripped of all its earlier sophistication. You're evicting us? You asked me to leave because poor people aren't welcome at your party, I said, looking directly into her horrified eyes. I'm simply extending the same courtesy. They aren't welcome on my estate, either. The facade of their perfect world was cracking, and I could see the raw panic beneath. We'll pay rent, Douglas begged. Back rent. Whatever you want. For years of fair market rent? For a 6-bedroom estate on 12 acres? That's approximately $12,000 a month. Call it $700,000 with taxes and maintenance. I watched the color drain completely from his face. Or, I continued, you can vacate in 30 days. I'll consider the money lost, the price of learning who my family really is. Tears, real this time, streaked Eleanor's mascara. Where will we go? The girls' school, our friends. Your friends? I swept my gaze across the crowd of stunned, silent guests. The ones who agreed that someone like me doesn't belong? They were right. I don't belong at your garden party. Because this is my estate, and as of this moment, none of you are welcome here. I turned back to my sister, my heart of stone in my chest. You have 30 days. The cottage is available for 2 weeks if you need it. After that, I changed the locks. I didn't wait for another plea. I didn't look back at the ruins of their illusion. I walked to my practical, reliable car, the gravel of my own driveway crunching beneath my shoes. In my rearview mirror, I saw the final image, Eleanor, standing alone on the vast, perfect lawn, the abandoned party scattered around her like the ruins of a kingdom she had never owned. The lady of the manor was finally going home. And in 30 days, the real owner would return.